Okay, so many of you know about Cartesian coordinates, spherical polar coordinate and cylindrical polar coordinates, but many of the times students get confused like about the line element, area element, volume element. So in this video we are going to talk about those line, area and volume element in different coordinate system. So for this video we will keep our discussion restricted to Cartesian coordinates. First we will understand our well known Cartesian coordinate system, then we will go for spherical polar coordinate system, then cylindrical polar coordinate system. So let us start with the Cartesian coordinates. So this is very easy to understand, many of you already know about this, but let us just revise it. The line, surface and volume elements. So first of all, if you want to denote the position vector, what do? Let us draw the coordinate system first. So this is your x cap direction, this is your y cap direction, this is your z cap direction, let's say. Now any point in the Cartesian coordinates is represented by, let's say, the P, whose coordinate is x, y, z. So we can write the position vector of this thing r, vector r. So vector r, we can just write x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap. What does it mean? If you want to reach to this point, you have to go x amount along x cap direction, then y amount in j cap direction, and then finally z amount in the z cap direction to reach x amount, y amount and z amount. So that is why the point position coordinate is defined in this way. Now what about the magnitude? If you want to know the distance from the origin, let us say, to the point P. So for that you need to take the magnitude. The magnitude is given by this root over x square plus y square plus z square. This is one way, because the coordinate is 0, 0, 0, that is why x minus 0 whole square plus y minus 0 whole square plus z minus 0 whole square and root over. That is why we are getting this. If you take the distance between two arbitrary points, then you have to take the subtraction between the coordinates. Let us say the arbitrary point is a, b, c. Then what you are going to do? X minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square plus z minus c whole square and overall root. Okay. So this is the magnitude. Now what about the direction? If you want to specify this direction, what you have to do? We have to define a unit vector r cap. So this direction is denoted by some unit vector r cap. This unit vector will have magnitude 1, that is found out by vector r by the magnitude of its r. Fine. So this is a simple thing all you already know. Now let us talk about how do you define a line element in Cartesian coordinate. Okay. So here let us say this is the point P. Okay, let us do it here. We want to move along this. Let us say we go to this point Q and we have traveled some distance, let us say dr. So this infinitesimal displacement can be represented by, let us say, dl. So what we have changed? We have if you want to go this point, we have to move some extra distance to x, some extra distance to y, some extra distance to z. So that is why we write dx x cap. This is the difference. This is the difference. So extra distance along x direction, extra distance along y direction, and finally extra distance along z direction. In this way we get the line element. Okay. The surface element is a little bit complex, so we are discussing it after considering the volume element, because that needs a good amount of space. So let us go to the volume element. This was a line element. Now we are going to volume element. Now you know volume. How do you get volume? Length, breadth, height. So here also d tau, some infinitesimal volume, we can represent it by dx, dy, dz. In this way we can represent the volume element. Now let us talk about the surface element. That is quite interesting to know. Look, surface, in our lower standards we considered surface to be a scalar quantity, but as we started learning physics we considered it to be vector. Surface is basically a vector quantity. It has magnitude as well as it has some particular direction. Now there are two types of surfaces. One is closed surfaces. Another type of surface is open surface. What is the basic difference between this? Closed surface is that surface which contains some volume. It will definitely contain some volume. So it must be a three-dimensional structure, maybe let us say sphere. This is a closed surface. Now what about open surface? Open surface does not contain any volume. So it must be a two-dimensional surface. Let us say the sphere is resting on a plane, then this plane is your open surface. It does not have any volume, but the sphere, it has some volume, finite volume, that is why that is the closed surface. Now there are certain rules to find out the surface element for closed surface and for the open surface. Let us consider the closed surface. Let us take a cube. That is the easiest example we can take for the closed surface. This is as usual x, y, z coordinates. Okay. Now I am drawing a figure like this. So this is a cuboid. This is a cubic structure. Now this point is A, x is equals to A. So we are talking about this face, right? X is equals to A side. If you want to specify an infinitesimal element, let us say dA, how will you define it? On this plane, x is not changing. What is changing? Y and z is changing. So here dA we can write it as dy dz. What about the direction? The direction will be outward drawn normal. As you can see, this is along the positive x cap direction. So dA will be dy dz x cap. Fine. On the other hand, if you consider x is equals to 0 plane, the origin, so this is the x is equals to 0 plane. Here, how can we represent an infinitesimal volume, sorry, infinitesimal area dA? If you consider this, the outward drawn normal will be along the opposite direction, along the negative x cap direction. So dA will be dy dz. The magnitude of area is same, but the direction is opposite, minus x cap. In this way, whatever face you take, you can apply. For if you take, let us say, this surface, then direction of area will be along this. If you take that surface, the direction of area will be in the negative y direction. So you have to consider outward drawn normal. So I hope you have understood the concept of area for the closed surface. What about the open surface? Let us consider the case of a open surface. Open surface is basically a simple two-dimensional plane. Let us take this coordinate system x, y and z. We have one open surface like this, another open surface below. Here the direction will matter. Okay, let's say we are showing the direction like this, and if you consider an infinitesimal area, let us say dA, what will be its value? You can see it is traversed in the anti-clockwise sense and it is directing in the x cap direction. So this area element dA will be, what is varying? Y and z and varying, dy dz x cap. What about this? If you consider this, then the directions are given like this. This is in a clockwise sense. So if you consider an infinitesimal area here, what you gonna write for this area element dA? Here also y and z are varying, dy dz. But what about the direction? If you consider this, it is going inward. So this is minus x cap. So in this way we define the area elements. I hope you have understood this interesting thing. So this is for the Cartesian coordinate. In the next video, we are going to talk about the spherical polar coordinate and in the next maybe cylindrical polar coordinate. I hope you find this video useful. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you. Unacademy is India's largest online teaching learning platform. You can prepare for various competitive exams like CSIR-NET, GATE, JEST, IIT JAM, TIFR. Especially if you are preparing for CSIR-NET Physical Science, you can join me on Unacademy Plus. I cover all the 9 units of CSIR-NET Physical Science syllabus. My approach is especially I precisely give you the concept of the concerned topic. Then I discuss the relevant mathematical formula and do the analysis. Relevant problem based on the topic, including previous year questions, are discussed. Homework and assignments are also given. This is my profile, and if you want to join my Unacademy Plus courses, you can enroll for this course. And if you are new to this Unacademy platform, you can take Unacademy Plus subscription using our referral code FELIXUP, and Unacademy will give you 10% off. So take the Unacademy Plus subscription today and put your feet one step ahead towards reaching your goal. Thank you.